secured to the implant. So that becomes a non-segmental. Am I clear? Am I clear? This is how it is. This is simple. This is another thing. So we have segmented. In that we have screw, retain, and cemented. Non-segmented. Superstructure is directly secured over the implant with screw. So these are the some of, as I told you earlier, we make an open tray impression technique. There is nothing, or do not ever go for a closed tray technique. Closed tray technique is only for the diagnostic purpose, not for the actual processes fabrication. For the fabrication of cement-treated processes where the prefabricated titanium abutments are altered in the laboratory, can be a single tooth or multiple teeth. For the fabrication of non-segmental processes over the implant, the titanium screw. So this patient does not want to go for an extensive laboratory, or he does not have a skilled technician. He makes an impression at the implant level and sends him a stock abutment which is milled in the laboratory. Is that clear? That is, the next one is here, the soft tissue's thickness is very, very less. If you have an abutment in that area, the metal collar gets exposed. What we do is we make a process directly and it is tightened over the implant. For that purpose, what we call is called as a burnout plastic castable abutments are available. Okay? Burnout plastic castable abutments are available. They do a regular casting and they do the ceramic and it is directly secured upon the implants. So these are some of the cases where we made the impression at the implant level, the abutments are modified. Now, open tray technique with a multi-unit abutment. Here the patient had good amount of internal space with a good amount of soft tissue thickness. I cannot implant maybe 10 millimeter. My crown would be about 11 millimeter. That is not a good case again. So we connected an intermediate component called the abutment. Then we make the abutment level impression. On top of that we make the crown. Then the crown is secured to the abutment access room. Is that clear? So these are the two, based upon the clinical situation, that we modify the processes. Either it could be a segmented or the non-segmented. But the impression procedure remains the same. It is an open tray technique. Never go for a closed tray technique. So these are some of the clinical cases of anterior teeth, posterior teeth, completed processes with the segmented abutment. Non-segmented. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this patient had a soft tissue thickness which is almost 1 millimeter. We do not have an abutment or a, it's with a scholar at about 1 millimeter. So in that cases we needed to avoid exposing the metal. So we went for a directly a castable abutment, ceramic, and it was screwed upon it. That is why now people have come out with the silicone abutments also, which can be milled to eliminate the grey appearance of the metal component. In this case, now you would say, எங்கள் ஊருக்காரங்க வந்து இந்த இம்பேக்ட் டூத்து கொஞ்சம் ஒரு மாதிரி அந்த எடுக்க மாட்டாங்க. அடுத்த கேள்வி நான் பணம் சம்பாதிக்க போய் என்ன வச்சுருக்காங்க. They are a little crude. துட்டு முதல்ல கொடுத்துருவாங்க, but there's something there. So what we have to do is எங்கள் ஊருக்காரங்க ஒரு மாதிரியா இருப்பாங்க. But still I needed to fill my pocket. I needed to answer the manager also. So the reduced interact space. Again, we go for a non-segmental processes. Is that clear? Soft tissue thickness, minimal soft tissue thickness, and reduced interact space. We needed to go for a non-segmental processes. Segmental process is indicated whenever soft tissue thickness exceeds more than 2 millimeter, whenever there is an interact space exceeds more than 7 millimeters. By doing so, what we are doing, we are bringing down the crown root ratio. We are minimizing the crown root ratio. In a segmental process, there are 3 components: implant, abutment, and processes. Processes can be retained by cement or screw. Clear? Whatever the thing. But never ever go for a cementable processes for a full arch restoration. It's very, 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 very difficult. So these are the various lab analogs. This is meant for the implant level impression making. This is for the abutment level impression making. And the transfer copings. Of course, straight abutment, angulated abutment, multi-unit abutment. I told you the castable abutment. Castable abutment for a single non-segmental processes. Clear? What they do is they make a wax pattern of this, they do a burner procedure, and they do the ceramic, and this is a prosthetic thing where you can tighten the processes over the implants. Now, how to decide that angulated abutment? I told you earlier, You draw an imaginary line between the cingulum of the adjacent teeth. Now this, here, the hex driver falls parallel to the intercingular. So what abutment I can use?
That's right.
Beautiful. This case, excellent. So this is all. So for this you don't need a guide. Guide you needed to spend at least 3,000 rupees on there. You have beautiful eyes, good brain to assess what it is. So why do you need something? So the guides are meant for the blinds. I'm sorry for my language. So we have various abutments, straight abutment and angulated abutments. So this is a clinical scenario. Again, what sort of an abutment that you are going to use? See the axis? Angulated abutment. Beautiful. So now the angulated abutment, they do have a collar. It is that starts from 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter. Some companies they have up to 6 millimeter. Now how are we going to decide to get an emergence profile? So the height of the abutment should be a difference of 2 millimeter to the soft tissue height. How will it differ? We just, from this point to the head of the implant, you measure the distance. If it is 5 millimeter, select an abutment that is shorter than the height by 2 millimeter, that is 3 millimeter. 5 minus 3 is 2 millimeter. So the abutment goes 2 millimeter below the soft tissue. Thereby, you are eliminating the visibility of the metal component. And also, you are giving a chance to give a emergence profile. Is that clear? So the first and foremost thing is the elimination of the visibility of the metal component and developing a emergence profile. So these are the basic necessities in the aesthetically demanding area. So, transfer coping. Attach the transfer coping, check for the radiograph for the proximity, the close adaptation of the transfer coping to the underlying implants. Make sure you don't get to see a gap exists between the transfer coping and the implants. Open tray technique. Try the tray in the patient's mouth. See the pin comes through the access hole. Now, choice of impression. Ingurna alginate edupanga, patti. Never use patti, alginate, polyether. In polyether, if there is an undercut, only a male gorilla can remove the impression, not anybody. It's so difficult to remove the impression made with the polyether because they are very firm. So, addition silicone, regular body monophase, vinyl polyether is alloxan, regular body, multiple texturing. Addition silicone, heavy body, and addition silicone for which you needed to make a custom tray. Clear? Never use putty for the impression making. Don't. So this is how it is. So we made the impression. Lab analog is connected and it's sent to the lab. Can you see the actual reproduction into the cast? The laboratory milled it and he sent it back to me to get the approval from I am the deciding man, not he. To check for the clearance and everything. The same thing was seen in the patient's mouth. He made a beautiful ceramic. This was tied in all the dimension, luted with tampon. And retrievability is very easy if you are using tampon. And this is the scenario after luting. The collective portion. You allow good amount of time for the soft tissue to heal. This is what you get. Same thing with the multiple teeth also.